In the farthest reaches of the northern hemisphere, where the Earth's breath crystallizes into biting winds and the horizon dissolves into a pale, endless shimmer of frozen wilderness, a profound and unsettling transformation is underway, a transformation that has provoked both exhilaration and dread among scientists, archaeologists, climatologists, virologists, and historians alike. A transformation that has turned the Arctic into a vast, thawing vault of ancient secrets now being forced into the light by the relentless advance of global warming, and as the once eternal ice retreats, revealing the dark soils, fractured permafrost, and long-buried relics beneath, we stand at the threshold of a revelation unlike anything humanity has confronted before. Because in this collapsing frontier of ice and time, the Arctic is surrendering its oldest stories, its most haunting remnants of worlds that lived and died millennia, even millions of years, before modern civilization drew its first breath, and with each newly exposed layer of thawed earth, the line between wonder and warning grows ever thinner, while the questions echo more fiercely. What truths lie entombed in the coldest vault on Earth, and what will it mean for humanity when those truths finally rise? In the twilight glow of the Arctic summer, an eerie season in which the sun refuses to set and the sky hovers in perpetual half-light, massive slabs of permafrost sag and rupture like ancient scrolls unfurling, revealing preserved ecosystems older than Homo sapiens. Frozen remains of megafauna long extinct, splintered fragments of tools crafted by human hands that vanished long before recorded history began, and most disturbingly, viral particles and bacterial colonies so perfectly preserved in ice that they awaken the moment warmth touches them, as if no time has passed at all. Here, in this harsh and thawing landscape, we confront the unsettling truth that the Arctic is not merely a stage for climate change but a Pandora's box, its lid now pried open by rising temperatures, releasing not myth, but biological and historical forces that humanity may not be prepared to face. And while the world watches satellite images depicting shrinking glaciers and cracked sea ice, a different drama unfolds on the ground, one of hurried excavation teams, mobile genetic laboratories rushed into remote tundra plains, international research vessels navigating through waters once locked solid, and indigenous communities witnessing landscapes that shaped their ancestors mutate beyond recognition, while above all of it stands the urgent, haunting realization that we have entered a race. Not only against time, but against our own unpreparedness, because what emerges from this melting frontier has the power to illuminate our origins, challenge our assumptions about early civilizations, rewrite vast chapters of human history, and simultaneously threaten us with pathogens older than agriculture, older than cities, older even than the first sparks of human language. So this documentary begins not with the panic of dystopian speculation, nor with the silence of unbroken ice fields, but with the tremor of discovery, the moment when a team of Russian scientists, drilling deep into the Siberian permafrost to extract ancient soil samples, encountered a virus more than 30,000 years old, a virus that, once warmed, reactivated and began infecting host amoebas as if awakening from a dreamless sleep, proving beyond doubt that ice is not just a preserver of history, but a freezer of biological weapons forged by nature itself, untouched by evolution for tens of millennia. And with that single discovery, a door was thrown open to a chilling possibility. If harmless viruses can survive eons in the cold, what of the deadly ones, the ancient pathogens that once swept through prehistoric populations, or the microbial threats that evolved in a world utterly unrecognizable to us today. But the story deepens further still, because as melting ice exposes forgotten coastlines and long-buried land bridges, archaeologists are unearthing artifacts that challenge everything we believed about early human migration, evidence that hints at complex societies operating in the Arctic thousands of years earlier than previously thought, their existence erased not by warfare or famine, but by the ice itself swallowing their settlements during the violent climatic shifts of the last ice age. Preserving their secrets until now, and with each stone carving, each preserved burial site, each fragment of ancient technology, we are confronted with the realization that the Arctic was never an empty void at the edge of the world but a thriving corridor of human innovation, adaptation, and survival that may have played a crucial role in humanity's spread across the globe. Meanwhile, across Greenland, meltwater rivers carve deep canyons through ice sheets once thought immutable, exposing layers of sediment that contain plant material and pollen from a lush Arctic forest that existed millions of years before the first hominids appeared on the African continent, revealing a forgotten world where the Arctic was not a land of frost, but a warm, verdant biome teeming with life. And as scientists analyze this miraculous snapshot of Earth's distant past, they confront the profound implications it carries for our future, because if the Arctic was once warm before, and is becoming warm again, what does that mean for global sea levels, weather patterns, ocean currents, geopolitical tensions, mass migrations, and the survival of coastal civilizations that depend on today's stable climate? This is the dawn of a new chapter in human history, one in which the Arctic, long perceived as a frozen wasteland, now emerges as a historical archive, a biological repository, a geological time capsule, and perhaps the most important climate indicator our world has ever known. And as we journey through this documentary, we will travel across melting ice shelves, descend into ancient permafrost tunnels, explore the newly exposed relics of prehistoric humans, examine the awakening of dormant viruses and bacteria, and confront the global stakes of a world where the boundaries between past and present are dissolving faster than we can comprehend. This is a story of revelation and danger, of scientific triumph and existential risk, of mysteries thawing from the depths of time, forcing us to reconsider who we are, where we came from, and what future awaits us on a planet whose oldest secrets are no longer locked in ice. Across the vast expanse of the northern world, where the cold once seemed eternal and the silence of ice reigned supreme, an unprecedented transformation continues to unravel ancient boundaries of knowledge and fear, pushing humanity into a confrontation with the deepest reservoirs of time. And as scientists step further into this fragile realm of thawing landscapes, the Arctic becomes not only a geographic location but a living chronicle of Earth's forgotten epochs, revealing layers of existence that had been locked away long before the dawn of civilization, calling forth a sense of awe and urgency unlike anything we have seen in modern scientific history, for this is not merely a story of melting ice, it is a story of awakening worlds. In the northern stretches of Canada's Yukon Territory, where permafrost cliffs slump into muddy cascades under the assault of rising temperatures, paleontologists uncover creatures that appear almost freshly fallen from life itself, the soft fur of the ancient steppe bison still plush and intact, the sinews of long-extinct horses preserved as if frozen in mid-stride, and the haunting, perfectly formed face of a Pleistocene wolf pup, its glassy eyes sealed in slumber for over 40,000 years. These astonishing finds, frozen in time, do more than fuel academic fascination. They challenge our understanding of extinction, offering genetic blueprints of species that once dominated the Ice Age and raising provocative questions about the possibility, and consequences, of resurrecting vanished creatures in a warming world that may no longer resemble the one they knew. But while the media gravitates toward the spectacle of mammoths and cave lions re-emerging from the ice, a quieter, far more consequential drama unfolds beneath the surface, the awakening of prehistoric microorganisms, entombed for tens of thousands of years, now stirring as the permafrost retreats, and though invisible to the eye, these microbes represent a biological archive of immense scale, containing ancient strains of bacteria, viruses, fungi, and protozoa that evolved in ecosystems long lost to extinction. And as scientists carefully extract samples from permafrost cores, they find evidence that these organisms are not merely preserved, they are viable, capable of replicating once reintroduced to warmth, presenting humanity with a profound dilemma, for we are now uncovering life forms that have been absent from Earth's biosphere since long before the rise of agriculture, cities, or written language. What threats or insights do these organisms hold? No one can fully answer that question, not yet, but the implications reverberate through every laboratory from Fairbanks to Novosibirsk. Some of these prehistoric microbes might unlock new understandings of evolution, biochemistry, climate resilience, or ancient pandemics, while others may harbor risks we are not prepared for, risks we cannot predict, because they originate from worlds that have no modern equivalents. And this unsteady balance of wonder and danger transforms each excavation into a moment of scientific reckoning, one that echoes across policy debates, ethical discussions, and international tensions as nations grapple with the reality that the Arctic's newly exposed biological archive is both a treasure trove and a potential hazard. Meanwhile, far out on the receding ice shelves of Greenland, oceanographers embark on expeditions into fjords that were sealed in ice since before the birth of the Roman Empire, discovering long-forgotten ecosystems teeming with microbial life that evolved independently in isolated pockets beneath the ice, forming distinct and ancient biological communities that may hold clues to early Earth conditions or even to the type of life that might exist on other icy worlds, such as Jupiter's moon, Europa, or Saturn's moon Enceladus. And as these hidden ecosystems rise into the warming seas, they interact for the first time with modern marine life, reshaping the biological map of the Arctic Ocean in real time, altering food chains, altering species distribution, altering the future of coastal nations dependent on Arctic fisheries. The cascading consequences of these changes extend far beyond biology, reaching into geopolitics and the global economy, for as the ice recedes, new shipping lanes open across the once impassable Northwest Passage, inviting competition among nations eager to establish control over emerging trade routes, energy reserves, and strategic military positions, turning the Arctic into a modern arena of power, much like the great maritime frontiers of earlier centuries. Yet beneath all these human ambitions lies something far older: archaeological revelations that upend the timelines of human prehistory. Along newly exposed coastlines of Siberia, Alaska, and northern Scandinavia, archaeologists uncover remnants of settlements that predate the earliest known Arctic cultures by thousands of years, suggesting that human migration into the far north occurred far earlier than previously believed, and that these early societies were far more advanced than history has credited. Tools crafted with precision, ceremonial objects carved from mammoth ivory, and fragments of what appear to be symbolic artwork hint at complex belief systems, social structures, and trade networks that thrived in environments once dismissed as uninhabitable, and as radiocarbon dating pushes the origins of these communities deeper into the past, a provocative idea emerges that the Arctic may have served as a migration corridor during climate windows when conditions were more favorable, and that these movements may have played a role in humanity's spread across continents. Even more astonishing are the discoveries emerging from beneath the ice caps of Greenland, where meltwater has exposed sediments containing plant matter, insects, and pollen dating back millions of years, revealing that the Arctic was once covered in dense forests, alive with species that no longer exist, offering a glimpse into a prehistoric climate cycle far warmer than today's. And as scientists reconstruct this ancient environment using cutting-edge genomic and isotopic analysis, they gain vital insight into how Earth responds to large-scale shifts in temperature, insight that carries sobering implications for our rapidly changing future. Through these revelations, the Arctic becomes a mirror, reflecting both the distant past and the looming future, its melting frontiers serving as a bridge between epochs, reminding us that climate change is not merely a scientific phenomenon but a force that has shaped civilizations, migrations, ecosystems, and biological evolution since the dawn of time. Yet never before has humanity witnessed such rapid transformations. Never before have we had access to the ancient contents of the Arctic vault at such speed, and never before has the line between discovery and risk been so thin. For every lost civilization unearthed, every extinct creature preserved, every ancient virus revived, brings us closer to understanding not only the world that once was but the world that might come again, one transformed by the same natural forces now accelerating at unprecedented scale. And as we push deeper into these thawing lands, one truth becomes clear: the Arctic is not simply revealing its secrets, it is warning us, urging us to listen to the echoes of the past before they become the realities of our future, urging us to recognize that the knowledge emerging from beneath the melting ice may hold the key to humanity's survival, or its undoing. In the unrelenting sweep of Arctic transformation, where glaciers split like ancient monoliths and permafrost sighs beneath the weight of awakening worlds, humanity stands witness to a spectacle that transcends science and touches the very core of our collective memory, for as the ice recedes and entire landscapes shift beneath the pale glow of the polar sun, we begin to understand that this thawing frontier is not merely a stage for environmental upheaval, it is a vast, unfolding archive of forgotten eras, and within its depths lie histories that redefine who we are and who we may yet become. Thus the Arctic, long characterized as a remote, frozen void, emerges as one of the most consequential archaeological, biological, and climatological frontiers of the 21st century, a place where the boundaries between life and death, past and present, myth and reality dissolve in a tide of revelations that deepen with every meter of melting ground. As researchers traverse the crumpled mosaic of tundra and exposed sediment, their discoveries speak not only to scientific curiosity but to an ancient narrative that stretches back through epochs of cataclysm and rebirth, revealing cycles of climate change far older than human civilization and reminding us that the Earth has undergone transformations so dramatic they defy the limited scope of recorded history. Yet the unprecedented pace of modern warming sets this moment apart, catapulting us into a realm where natural processes unfold with such ferocity that humanity must grapple with the dual role of observer and catalyst, acknowledging that our actions have accelerated the release of secrets once meant to remain frozen for millennia. Along the coasts of the Laptev Sea, immense sinkholes erupt as the permafrost collapses, exposing layers of ancient peat and frozen bones that once belonged to wild herds of mammoths, reindeer, and woolly rhinoceroses, animals that roamed a world so distant that it challenges our imagination, yet whose bodies now surface like messengers from an age when glaciers ruled the horizon and early humans battled extinction with ingenuity and resilience. And as geneticists extract DNA from these preserved giants, they uncover clues about prehistoric ecosystems that operated with a complexity rivaling modern ones, ecosystems that thrived in climates oscillating between brutal cold and unexpected warmth, reinforcing the truth that Earth's climate system has always been dynamic even as today's rapid change pushes it past thresholds unseen in human lifetimes. In the depths of Alaska's thawing lowlands, archaeologists uncover the remains of circular dwellings that predate the earliest known Arctic cultures by thousands of years, their construction hinting at societies that adapted with astonishing sophistication to shifting climates, utilizing mammoth bones as structural supports and designing settlements aligned with seasonal sun patterns. Within these sites, remnants of woven fibers, carved religious icons, and pigment-stained stones hint at ritual practices and belief systems that challenge the idea of the Arctic as a desolate frontier devoid of spiritual or artistic expression, instead revealing a flourishing cultural landscape shaped by cycles of ice and thaw, abundance and scarcity, migration and settlement. Further east, in the unforgiving heart of Greenland's newly exposed valleys, geologists discover sediment layers containing fossilized leaves, insects, and freshwater organisms dating back more than 2 million years, a stunning reminder that the Arctic once hosted temperate forests and interconnected river systems, worlds that resembled the mild climates of modern Europe rather than the frozen plains we know today. And as scientists recreate these vanished environments through advanced isotopic analysis, they uncover patterns of atmospheric composition and ocean circulation that mirror the trends now emerging in the 21st century, offering both insight and warning. For the ancient geological record reveals that past warming events of this scale were accompanied by massive rises in sea level, disrupted global weather systems, and the collapse of ice sheets, processes now unfolding once more. As these revelations mount, the Arctic becomes a stage for the convergence of disciplines long separated by specialization. Climatologists and archaeologists share expedition routes with geneticists and virologists, oceanographers confer with anthropologists, glaciologists collaborate with historians, and through this unprecedented union of expertise, a broader narrative begins to take shape, one that situates the Arctic not at the fringes of civilization, but at the center of humanity's past, present, and future. This narrative grows even more complex as scientists begin to uncover evidence indicating that the Arctic served as a crucial migratory corridor during key periods of early human expansion, a place where ancient peoples navigated changing landscapes, followed herds across ice bridges, adapted to shifting climates, and forged communities capable of surviving in environments that modern humans might find unimaginable, and as DNA extracted from ancient remains reveals connections between these Arctic populations and cultures scattered across Asia, Europe, and the Americas, a sweeping new vision of human migration emerges, one that highlights resilience, adaptation, and the profound interplay between climate and civilization. Yet amid the exhilaration of discovery looms an undercurrent of danger, for the Arctic's ancient archives contain not only artifacts and fossils but dormant biological threats capable of reshaping our world. And as permafrost thaws at an accelerating rate, the release of prehistoric microbes raises urgent questions about our global preparedness, our scientific responsibility, and the ethical boundaries of research. For while many of these ancient organisms may be harmless or even beneficial to scientific understanding, others could pose risks we cannot fully anticipate given the absence of evolutionary interaction with modern immune systems. This invisible frontier becomes even more precarious as melting ice caps alter global sea levels and ocean currents, threatening coastal cities, reshaping migration patterns, destabilizing economies, and amplifying geopolitical tensions among nations vying for control over newly accessible Arctic resources. Rich reserves of oil, gas, minerals, and fish that have remained untouched for centuries beneath the ice. As countries establish military bases, expand shipping lanes, and assert territorial claims, the Arctic evolves from a remote wilderness into a strategic epicenter of global power, underscoring the profound stakes of the discoveries now emerging from its melting frontiers. Yet beneath all of these dramatic shifts lies a deeper, more haunting truth: the Arctic, in its thawing silence, is reminding humanity of the delicate balance that has always governed life on Earth, a balance forged through cycles of creation and destruction, stability and upheaval, ice and fire. And as we confront the contents of this unsealed vault, we must reckon with the possibility that the answers it offers about ancient climates, extinct species, forgotten civilizations, and dormant microbes may be crucial to navigating a future defined by climate uncertainty. Ultimately, the Arctic's melting frontiers do not simply reveal the past, they demand that we understand it, for in these buried secrets lie the keys to our most pressing questions. How have species survived rapid climate shifts before? What civilizations arose and fell during times of environmental crisis? What biological risks and opportunities emerge when ancient worlds collide with modern ones? And most importantly, what will it take for humanity to adapt not only technologically and politically, but philosophically to a world where the boundaries between eras are dissolving, where the ancient and the modern meet in a confluence that challenges our assumptions about life on Earth? As this chapter unfolds, we stand at the precipice of revelation, poised between awe and apprehension, aware that the Arctic is speaking to us in the only language it has ever known, the language of transformation, and that its message, long frozen in silence, is now rising with the meltwaters, echoing across continents, urging us to grasp the full breadth of its story before the last remnants of its ancient archive vanish into the warming winds of a rapidly changing planet.